one today, and I really, really need a blog.
Oh, okay.
Okay, cool.
What do I have to do?
Okay, so you can just sit right there.
All right.
And look at the camera. Okay, can you say who you are?
I'm Todd, Executive Director of City Year Columbus.
Okay, perfect. All right, let me go over here.
Okay, so I'm just kind of like,
yeah, you're just going to look at me.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about sponsorships today. And can you just kind of run me through, because you've been on both sides of it, so why are sponsorships or just working with businesses so important?
Yeah, so one of the things about City Year is that we were actually built and designed through the founders when they created City Year to really work closely with corporations. And the thought there was not just corporations being donors and sponsors for what we do, but really being partners. And so in my role prior to coming to City Year as a philanthropy manager at Limited Brands, I constantly tried to work to develop more of a partnership type of relationship with the organizations that we serve. Mainly because I wanted to have a deeper connection with our community, and the way that we could do that was to partner with the agencies that were serving our community. And not just, kind of give a donation or a sponsorship, but really find ways that we could utilize the strengths of both organizations to have the greatest impact. And so sponsorships or donations, money, right, is what's really going to help us move some things in our work. But where we can also find ways to kind of save money by utilizing some of the expertise or in-kinding that a corporation can provide makes a lot of sense, and it helps us in a great deal as well. So,
go ahead.
Nope.
So when you were at Limited Brands, what did you guys look for a nonprofit? Like what were some big things that you said, yes, we want to fund that idea or project?
Well, I think it's unique to the company, right? And so when you think about it, companies have all different types of business models, right? And they have all different types of products, and they have all different types of reasons for why and how they go about, finding, what we would call like business opportunities, right? So, at Limited Brands, it's a company that is the parent for Victoria's Secrets and Bath and Body Works. Both of those are companies that really serve women. And so when I would look at strategies around our philanthropy, it typically were strategies that were things that women were interested in. And so women's issues, children, education, those were like the kind of the pillars for our giving at Limited Brands. Now, it's not to say that that's all we gave to. Obviously, the larger, broader community was important to us, and so we would find different ways that we could support that and invest in that. The arts were an important part of our community as well, so we would also give to the arts community. But where I'd say the bulk of our giving went were organizations that really supported women's issues and things that women really cared about. So when you think about businesses in the larger community, you should really try to figure out, kind of what their interests are. What are some of the things that align with their business strategy and their business, and then go to them. A perfect example for me when I was at Limited Brands where we cared deeply about pets, right? But it didn't really align with our business. And so it was difficult for me to kind of find a connection when we would get, asked to support pet organizations. Not that they haven't in the past, and not that they wouldn't in the future, but it was just a harder kind of connection to make. And so what I would tell organizations that would come to me for those types of things, I would try to find another company that was out there that I had a relationship with that I could connect them to that might be more aligned with that particular issue or work.
So I've always struggled with when we have a sponsor, or any nonprofit for that matter, what does the sponsor, the business, a thank you card is, the cliche thing to do, but then sometimes, you get perks of, a VIP dinner. What do they like?
I think this that's another one of those questions where it's just unique to that business, right? I mean, there are some businesses that, it's a great marketing opportunity for them, right? So it's a great way for them to not only show the good that they're doing in the community, but also to be able to get their name out to a broader, larger market. And then there are some that are looking for opportunities to be able to penetrate a different market, right, that they maybe have never had an opportunity to do. And so the way that they kind of go into that is to find ways that they can support that particular community. So they'll find what the issues are big in that community and start to kind of support that as a way to kind of, as an intro into that community. So I've seen that happen before. You know, some organization, and I can speak to limited brands, you know, they were more interested in doing good because it was the right thing to do and because this community is one that they really cared about. And so they would, which is why we had a broad base of giving as well, because there were a lot of different things that they felt were important to support this community. So they weren't as interested in the marketing piece of it. They weren't as interested in having their names out on everything. But what I did realize in that process is that organizations were interested in having our name, our limited brands name out on it, because it was a way to encourage and influence others to give. It was kind of a stamp of approval in a lot of ways. So, you know, I think with each organization or with each company, it's just based on what their interests are. From what I'm seeing trending is that corporations are really interested in partnering with agencies that they can engage their employees or their associates. And so where they can have various volunteer projects, or they can find ways that you can use their expertise or their intellectual capital to support the work, that's where I see a lot of companies trying to find ways to get their employees more engaged. And so where an organization can support that, I think is helpful.
And so what is City Year's strategy of, like, how do you get those, if you're going after a company, what are some of your tips of, because companies get, you know, thousands of letters every day. Yeah,
they do. Well, so I do my research, right? So if there's a particular company that I think is really aligned with who we are, and I've come to find out that they have an interest in some of the work that we're doing, in particular education, then I try to work with them to identify opportunities where we kind of meet some of the things that they are looking to do. And so, you know, it starts first by just getting a conversation happening, right? So I reach out to whoever it is within that organization or that company that I think can at least give me a sense of, you know, what some of their goals are, some of their objectives. I try to see where we align in values, because a lot of times, you know, if we have different values, we're just, no matter whether or not we have some similar interests, if our values aren't aligned, then that can be a challenge in trying to build a relationship. And so I just kind of start off like, you know, like you would in dating. You know, you get to know them, we talk, you know, we figure out what we have in common and where those commonalities can move us to building a relationship and a partnership. And so, you know what they want and what they need, share with them what we do and where our strengths lie, see where there's some alignment there, find opportunities to create engagement, right? And so is it associate volunteer projects? Is it sponsoring an event? Is it, you know, finding ways that our core members here at City Year can be mentors or have mentors within that particular corporation, have them come in and have some of their associates come in and talk with our core members to create, you know, how you do resumes, how you interview, you know, just ways to build their strengths. I mean, there are all different types of ways that you can engage a company, but until you have those conversations to start to build those relationships, you won't know what's the best way.
And one last question.
Sure.
For somebody in the nonprofit industry, what would be one tip you would give them?
You know, do something that you're passionate about. If you're going to go into the nonprofit community, make sure it's something that you're really passionate about, because what we don't need in the nonprofit community are people just kind of out here doing work that they're not really interested in, or they don't really care about the issues. You know, the more that you care about the issues, the more you're passionate about it, the more that you're going to put into it. And I would say that that's one of the major differences that I believe within the nonprofit and the for-profit community that makes the nonprofit community much different is passion towards the work. It's not to say that for-profit, you know, communities don't have passion for their work, but you know, most companies, you know, their bottom line is about the profit, right? But for nonprofits, the bottom line is about impact. And so if you're not passionate, it's going to be really difficult for you to drive for impact. How are you doing? How's things?
I'm good.
Okay. Good,
Yeah.
good.
Todd, thanks so much. I know it's kind of last minute, and I just kind of ran in here, but I just want to say thank you. And
You are more than welcome at any time. And congratulations on your fairy blog.
Thank
I
you.
think that's awesome.
Well, I gotta go. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. No, okay, gotta go.